I'm okay.
Good, good.
It's been rough losing a lot of friends lately. I mean, geez, it's been quite the dramatic couple years in my life. I've lost a lot of friends, lost a lot of friends to addiction, and I've lost a lot of close family, and went through a divorce. I mean, it's been insurmountable, really. But I'm a survivor. I'm still here, amazingly enough. I don't know how I've been so lucky, because I feel great. I'm in perfect health. I've got a beautiful son. So, you know, as we say in the Jewish tradition, l'chaim.
All right, very cool. Give me 1 second. We'll continue here. All right. So really sorry to hear about the loss of Jeff. I mean it's kind of heartwarming to see a lot of his friends. John Travolta and so
Danny
on and so forth.
DeVito and Mary Henner, and yeah, everybody's been standing up for him. It's nice.
So what do you like? What do you know? There's a lot of back and forth with the family and not allowing his friends to say goodbye and pulling the
Mm.
plug. What do you make of all of that?
I don't know. I'm quite confused by it all. I don't want to kind of weigh in as to my thoughts on the matter, as I don't know all the specific details. I don't know what condition he was in at the time that they pulled his plug. I mean, I know he was still in the coma, but I'm not aware of what his physical medical condition was at that moment, whether he was having failure of all of his organs, or there was a specific reason that they felt the necessity to pull the plug so quickly. But I am troubled by the decision, for many reasons. Number one, somebody who's not only battled drug addiction but helped many others with their battle against drugs. I know that when it's a drug-induced coma, there is a very, very high ratio of people who come out of those comas after a certain amount of time. And I think a week is a very, very short amount of time to give somebody to recover. So I think that it was quite an obscure judgment call. And unless there was some physical data to back it up, some medical data, something that, resonated with the idea that there was no saving him, then I'm kind of at a loss as to why that decision was made. However, I knew Carrie, his ex-wife, who, we got along very well. I, hung out with her and Jeff many times. And they seemed very happy, and of course, people split up, but I just don't understand the reasoning behind such a drastic, quick decision. The other thing is that I felt it very troubling that they didn't allow any of his close friends or family to, well, I wouldn't say family, close friends at the very least, to go visit him before the plug was pulled. As a matter of fact, I got a call from a friend of mine who I know through the 12-step programs, who was also friends with Jeff through the 12-step programs. And he had mentioned to me that one of Jeff's close friends, also through the 12-step program, had given my friend a call and told him, look, this is kind of the countdown. They're going to pull the plug. And, if anybody wants to go say goodbye, now's the time. So I said, yes, of course, I'd like to be there. And I requested to come the next morning. And the response that I got back was, after the request was put in, the friend said, the family has decided to not let any friends come through, and only immediate family would be allowed to see him at this point.
Now, why would you think that they would take that approach by excluding all of his friends and the people who made him who he was?
Well, I can't say. Again, they told me that the reasoning that I was told was that there was intensive security. They had police outside the hospital doors, police inside the hospital room. So they were guarding him very heavily. I, again, don't know the reasons for that. But I can only imagine maybe there were, threats on his life, or death threats, or maybe something a bit more unorthodox might have been at hand. I don't know.
Now let me ask you this: Did you know whether or not he was clean or off drugs at the time of his death?
Due to my knowledge, he was not clean at the time of his death. I had been speaking with Vicky, and she called me at one point and said, "Look, Jeff and I are breaking up. We're going through a lot of problems right now, and I can't watch him suffer like this. I can't watch him hurting himself anymore, and so I had to leave. Which I know that she's been very resilient, very strong. She's been a soldier for him for many, many years, and she put up with all of it. I mean, all of the bouts in and out of rehab, and he was very, very similar to Corey Haim to me. They were very much the same person living in different bodies. There was never a time I can remember in the last several years where I saw Jeff where he wasn't slurring his words. I know that he was trying very hard to get it under control, but at the final point that I saw him, he was still in that condition, and it made me very sad. And then Vicky told me what she told me, and shortly after that, Jeff called me and actually left me a message on my answering machine asking me to borrow $100, which for a star of his magnitude is pretty awe-inspiring. I mean, I was really heartbroken to get that message, and I didn't return his call because I knew what he wanted the money for based on what Vicky had been telling me about his condition and the way he sounded on the message. I knew that it was probably not for good things, because you don't call somebody and ask for $100 unless you're using it for something immediate. That's not survival money. If it's survival money, you ask for $1,000 or $2,000 or something to pay bills. And I have loaned him money in the past, but this time I just didn't feel right about it. I didn't think it was going to benefit him, and I was quite disappointed to get that call because I knew that he was losing the battle. From that point forward, I don't know what happened. All I know is that they got back together for a brief time. She was going to give him one more chance, and next thing you know, I got the call that he was in a coma and in the hospital.